Thank you very much. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. But having spent so much time in Killarney and in Kerry, which, as you know, people tell Kerry jokes. I don't. I'm not like those common comedians who telling you how to get a one-armed Kerry man out of a tree. Wave at him. I stayed in a hotel one particular night down there, and it was a bore. I have to tell you now, I was bored up in the room. I had a colour television. That's right, I got a red one. And I was really bored. I didn't know what to watch, the channels. I didn't know what, and I found a Bible in the drawer. I was going through the Bible looking for loopholes, and I came across a leaflet in the Bible, and it said, if you're an alcoholic, call this number. I did, and it was an off license down in the main street. It was an off license. It was a big hotel. It was a posh hotel. I have to say it was a posh hotel. This hotel was so exclusive, room service was ex-directory. Honestly. And the porters were into tips in a big way. I said, no way. I ordered a deck of cards in the room, and they made 52 trips to the bedroom with the cards. And the one thing about it is that the porter in this particular hotel he had a strong accent on him, you see. And the manager of the hotel said to him, now he says, we've got to make all our guests feel welcome when they arrive. I want you to announce their names as they walk through the lobby, and you'll announce their names out loud, he says. And particularly if they're from America, they've traveled a long distance, and they may, for one reason or another, be tired, and they need a little bit of, we want to create ambience. The man said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Ambulance. There's nobody sick. What are you talking about an ambulance? No, he said, no, ambience. He says, you'll announce their names as they walk in. He said, how will I know their names? Jeez, I'm not a fortune teller. And the manager said to him, it's very simple. He says, when the car stops outside the door, you'll pick up the cases, you're walking through the lobby, and it's the simplest thing in the world. You will see their names on the luggage tags, and you'll announce them. So you can imagine the consternation when he walked in one day, and he said, I'd like to announce the arrival here today from Philadelphia, USA, of Mr. and Mrs. Simulated Leather. Simulated leather. He was really getting fired. And the only reason he wasn't fired is because 4 ladies had arrived on the same flight from America, and they'd walked into the hotel, and they're walking up, and they're really tired, and they're going up towards the porter's desk, and one of the ladies said, Sir, can we have a bellboy? What are you talking about, bellboy? Sir, we want a bellhop. Hop your bell somewhere else. No, you don't understand, sir. In Ireland, what do you call the person who takes your bags to your room? He says yourself. And they had to carry these cases, lugging them up the stairs, and the porter was saying, follow me, I'll be right behind you. Put them into their rooms. They were all staying in the one room. And the following morning, they had a good rest, and they're all wakened up by this terrible banging on the door. And your man said, hello. Yes, what's wrong? Was it 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock you wanted to be called? He said, God damn it, we wanted to be called at 10 o'clock. What time is it now? She said, it's 11 o'clock. And they came down the stairs. They wanted to be taken out. They wanted to see the sights of Killarney. It was their desire to see the lakes and everything, and the mountains and all the beautiful Cross Houses, all the beautiful places. They needed to see the tourist sites. So they said, can somebody take us for a ride? You'll come to the right town anyway, I'll tell you that. No, we want to go on the jaunting car. Oh, yes, the jaunting car. He said, well, I'll get the Jarvey to bring one out, and he'll take you away. Well, this Jarvey arrived. You may as well have been looking at Benny Hill. Every feature of Benny Hill, he even had his antics. He was and he was there helping the first 3 women up onto the jaunting car. Woo! And they were enjoying the help for some reason. But the 4th woman, no, she wasn't having any of this. She was dressed like a dog's dinner. Frilly blouse, barbed wire waistcoat, a skirt, a tight mini skirt. Oh, it was up to her, about here. It was up to here. You know the skirts with the buttons down the back? And she's at the back of she's trying to get up on the jaunting car, and he's kind of helping me. Stop it, I can manage. Even the horse was having a look around her. And she's trying to get her leg up with the tight skirt. You see, the leg is going in. Couldn't get her leg up onto the step. And she leans back and she opens a button, you see, to give herself a bit of clearance. And the leg goes up again and she couldn't get the leg up onto the step. She leans back and she opens another button and the leg goes up and she's just about to open another button and the Jarvey says, "Geez, would you stop? You've the trousers nearly off me here, for God's sake." Some of the stories I tell are not them. Some of them actually happened. We're coming in one night to Neenah in County Tipperary. There was a backup out the road. We were wondering why the traffic was so backed up. And then I figured maybe it was the lady who had been in front of us earlier. She was in a red mini car. And she was huge. God bless us all that she was huge. She was the width of the car. I figured the steering wheel is in the middle of this car. And I couldn't pass her by. She was in the middle of the road. There was no way we could get by. She was going about 23 miles a fortnight. I'm dipping the horn. Beep, 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 beep. No way would she. And as soon as I got my chance, I went straight out around her as fast as I could. And as I'm going by, she goes, "Pig! Pig, 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 pig." So I said to her, "Cow. Cow, 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 cow." I said to her. And I drove around her and I crashed into a pig. And the smoke all over the town of Neenah, smoke everywhere, sparks and flames. And I said, obviously this is the cause of the traffic backup. So I went in and the fire, luckily enough, it wasn't a domestic fire, there was nobody injured, but by golly was the warehouse burning. And it was out of control. And the local Neenah Fire Brigade, in fairness to them, they did everything they could. And the fire chief said, "There's no way we can handle this on our own. Let's send out for help." They sent out for help all over the neighbouring counties. "Send in your help. We need." And opposite the fire was a Chinese restaurant. And the fellow who owned the restaurant was standing on the outside looking at the fire. And he was very excited. "Ah, fire, 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 busy fire, fire, fire." And, you know, God bless him. And they're different, of course. You know, he's slightly different in his features. Any Chinese here tonight, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they are slightly different in... That's why they have these features from their diet. Oh yes, they eat a lot of rice. That's right. And of course, rice is very binding. That's why they have... But he wanted to be a fireman, it was obvious. So the fire guy that was working there from the Neenah Fire Brigade, he was a decent man. He gave him the hose, and the Chinese fella could... Oh, he was... Oh, fire, 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 oh. He even gave him his coat, the big fire coat. And of course, they're not very tall, the Chinese. And the coat was down to his ankles. And then he gave him the big yellow hat, and the hat was down here. And he's going, "Fire, fire, fire, fire." And as the chief was going around inspecting all the various equipment, and he said to himself, "This fella doesn't look the right height." And he kind of has a little look under the hat, and he sees the difference. "Where are you from?" "Oh," he said, "I'm from Peking, China." I said, "That's a good one." So and the lads from Ross Gray haven't arrived yet. We got it. All the time we travel. I travel, and unfortunately, I have a dreadful, dreadful fear from traveling, particularly of aircraft. And that's the way it is. A lot of people confuse it. A lot of people say it's a fear of flying. It's not, it's a fear of crashing. So never think you have a fear of flying, because when you're up in an airplane, that's the one thing you wanted to do most is fly. Because when they stop flying 5 miles above the earth, they usually come down fairly quick. So never get the two confused. It's a fear of crashing. And God knows, the airline companies couldn't give a they couldn't care less. They couldn't care less about us. Even you go into the first word you see in the airport now, terminal. That's going to put you off. Final departure. I don't want to hear these things. And they go on with all this drill, you know, trying to make you happy, you know. Where would you like to sit on the plane? I said, in it. Not on it, I want to be in it. And which row would you like? I said, I don't care, just as long as I'm next to the black box. Or preferably in the black box. I'd like to be in the black box for the whole trip. They couldn't care less. I went into Dublin Airport one day. I said to the lady behind the desk, I said, I'd like the guitar in Tel Aviv. I'd like this case here in Manchester, England. I'd like that case in San Francisco. And the duffel bag in Sydney, Australia. And she says, we can't do that. Well, I said, you did it the last time. I was only going to Cork. And all this hanging about, waiting for announcements and everything else, that bothers me. That really bothers me, announcements. And tell you, always, if you have the opportunity on a plane, go to the back, sit on the back row of the plane, safest part. You never heard of a plane backing into a mountain? Never. When was the last time you saw the headline, Jumbo Jet reverses into Mount Everest? Just get on the plane and make yourself comfortable. And they actually succeed in making people nervous on a plane. I mean, like, it's the only form of transport in the world now where they show you how to get off it. They actually show you how to get out of the plane. Now, this is something that flies 5 miles above the earth, and you get on a train, they couldn't care less if you never got off. You get on a bus, taxis, they don't care less. But on a plane, they're showing you how to get out of it. Now, this is 5 miles up. Like, they could give you a parachute. That would be a help. But what did they do? A life jacket. One size fits all. One size fits some. The rest sink. The life jacket is so far under your seat that if you don't retrieve it in the first instance, the fella behind you gets 2 of them. I'm not trying to scare you from flying, but all this thing about, you know, pull sharply on the tag. Pull sharply on the tag to inflate the life jacket. And then they tell you that there's a rubber tube to blow into. Now, come on, if the tag worked, you wouldn't need the rubber tube. What does it tell you? The tags are faulty. And they expect you to blow up. Now, first of all, they're asking you to blow up something that's going to support your weight. Most of us couldn't blow up a bag. What they seem to forget is that the main ingredient required for the blowing up of anything is wind. And I can promise you that any wind that you may have had when everything is normal up there and suddenly you're dropping out of the sky at 1,000 feet a second, it won't be available for the blowing up of a life jacket. But among friends, not unless you can get the... I don't know whether you can or not. It's probably impossible. And then they say that you mustn't inflate the life jacket while you're inside the plane. I tried to figure that one out. You have to wait till it crashes. Get out and then blow. And then, of course, there's a whistle. Did you ever notice that? The only big deal now, it's a big whistle now. There's also a whistle on the life jacket to attract attention. Okay? Now think about it. You're 1,500 miles into the Atlantic Ocean in a force 9 gale and 40-foot waves with a jumbo going down under you. And you're trying to blow up the life jacket and you have a whistle to attract attention. Whose attention are you going to attract? Other passengers, perhaps. As if there's going to be another jumbo going over 5 minutes later with 4 Rolls-Royce engines bursting the captain's eardrums and he's going to hear like... I think there's somebody down there we go down. It doesn't work that way. A whistle attracts sharks. That's why the insurance companies gave whistles to the airlines. Get rid of the evidence. Why could it be that when you go into the toilet on the airplane, the window is frosted? Think about it. Some genius probably got millions for coming up with this idea, we'll frost the windows and the jacks on the planes. Frost. I mean, who is going to be looking, if you think about it, who's going to be looking in, maybe a flock of geese on the way back. And there's no room for anything. There's only certain people can fit in those toilets. I'm only barely able to get into them now. And then you go in. I remember going in one time, and I only had the door closed, and I go, oh my God, who has been here? Someone had a problem here. I said, I'm not sticking around for this. And you're straight out the door. There's about 6 people waiting to go in. I said, it wasn't me. I only went in. I just done my teeth. That's all I did. I had an aisle seat, and everybody that went by for the rest of the flight, when they went by, I said, you smelling pig. You're a smelly pig. And here's another thing, too. The toilets on planes nowadays are frightening. There's a vacuum on them. Do you notice that? You ever notice now, when you hit the button? Years ago, they used to flush. Nowadays, you hit the button and... Make sure you are up. Make sure you are not attached to the bowl when you hit the button. You're finished if that's the case. Oh, it'll take the whole intestines out of you and everything. There's a fellow walking along the beach one day, down on the southwest coast. He's walking along the beach with his dog. This was his companion. This was his pal, his friend, his only friend. Well, one of his only friends, his dog. Now, the dog was about 15 or 16 years of age. He was knackered. On his way out. And God bless us, he wasn't in great shape either. His tail was missing. He'd only 3 legs. Now, that made it awkward for him. His teeth were all broken. And his nose was flat from chasing parked cars. His ear was gone. And one of his eyes was gone as well. And he had distemper on top of all that. And his name was Lucky. And as this man walked with his best friend along the beach, he kicked a bottle, and suddenly, this big puff came out of the bottle, and it was a genie. I am the genie of the bottle. And he goes, oh, Genie Mac. Oh. He figured he was a local genie. Genie Mac, you see. And he said, you have released me after many years of captivity in my bottle. I will grant you the favour of one wish. And he said, well, Mr. Genie, if you could see your way. He said, this is my best friend, Lucky. And I'd like it if you could arrange it so that I could enter him into the dog show. And he'll walk away with first prize. The genie. He said, look at the dog. And he walks around the dog and he said, there are certain limitations to my abilities. He says, do you have an alternative wish? I have, he said. And he takes out a photograph of his wife and hands it to the genie. He said, would there be any chance, he says, that's my wife, that you could make it so that when I wake up in the morning beside her, she'd look like Julia Roberts. The genie said, ooh. He said, let me have another look at the dog. Fella came up from Kerry one day. He'd never been to Dublin before, but the train was late coming up. And when he got to the horse show on Ballsbridge, he missed the prize bull. And the fellow who was minding the prize bull says, I'm sorry, he says, you've missed the prize bull. We just put him away. Oh, you, how are you talking about this here? What are you talking about the prize bull? It's come up from Kerry. I want to see it now. The fellow said, I'm sorry, we've locked it up for the night. No way can we show you the prize bull. He's locked up. He said, I'm not living here. I'm a disappointed man. I have to go back on the train, and now I have to go back down to Tralee. And when I get down to Tralee, I will have to face my wife and my 27 children at the railway station, sitting in the horse and cart. The fellow says, hold on. He says, how many children have you got? He said, I have 27 children, and she's pregnant again at the moment. The man says, well, hold on. He says, I'll bring the prize bull out to see you. My grandfather, many, many years ago, which was many, many years ago, my grandfather was one of those characters. He was actually in the village of Dunlavin, in the town of Dunlavin in County Wicklow. He came out of his house one morning, 7:30 in the morning, and it was around the time when the telegraph came to Ireland. Most of you won't remember this, when post and telegraphs became invented for the first time. And this telegraph wire was going over Now, he didn't know it was a telegraph wire. It was just a black wire going across his boreal. And he's looking up at it. Oh, dear, where did that come from? Yes, you're going to have an awful time putting the washing up on that one. And he went into the town that day and he had a couple of drinks with his friends and they said to him, Tim, did you notice the wire going over the house? Oh, God, he said, I did. We got to see the shocking high line. No, they said, that's not a line. That happens to be the newest invention. He said, this is the new way to send messages. It's called the telegraph. It sends messages all over the world. It'll eventually do away with the postman. Messages on the telegraph. Well, he said, I never saw the likes of it. He would have go to America. Oh, they said it would. And I have a brother in the Bronx. And he's been looking for a pair of hobnail boots for the past couple of years. And he said, they've been shocking heavy to send in the post. Geez, that telegraph is a great thing, isn't it? He said. So he went up to the shop, the hardware shop in the town. There was no shoe shops then. And he bought these lovely pair of hobnail boots. And he tried them on. And he said, oh, yeah, they're great. No, said he, there. Said, they're a bit tight now, he said, a bit tight. And the fellow says, well, try them with the tongue out. And after he bought them, he wrote a note, stuck it inside, put a label on them, and tied the laces together. And he walked down to the boreen. And he fired them up over the wire. Went off to bed that night, and of course the lads couldn't wait to see the following day what kind of a reaction he'd get. And the following morning, about 6 o'clock, there was a tramp coming up the road at dawn, and he looked and he thought his prayers were answered when he saw these boots. And he climbed up the pole and he put out his stick and he drew them in. He got down, tried them on, they were perfect, and he got the old boots and he was just about to throw them into the ditch, and he decided he'd throw them back up. And when my grandfather came to the village that day, they were all waiting. Come on, Tim is coming, we'll ask him how he got on. He said, how did you get on? How did your brother get on with the boot? Oh, gee, he said, that telegraph is the best thing in the whole lot. And they said, did he get the boots? Did he get the boots? Oh, did he get them? Says he, geez, not only did he get them, he's after sending the old ones back to be mended. My father gave jobs. He was a sympathetic man. He gave jobs to everybody. A Japanese fella came in for a job one day, and God bless us now, as again, I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say that they're not as tall as us. But this fella had never, ever been to Ireland, and he'd no words of English. And he's up looking for the job on the building site. And my father said, what's wrong with him? And someone said he's looking for a job. They gave him a pair of overalls, a wheelbarrow, and sent him off working on the site with no words of English. And after a week on the site, this poor Japanese fellow was losing weight. The weight was falling off. And everybody was scared. Maybe this man has picked up a tropical disease and it's going to spread. And somebody said, no, the reason he's lost weight is because the man isn't eating. The man is starving. He doesn't know what to eat. He's from a different culture. He doesn't know what to order to eat. And my father said, well, I sort him out. I said, come here, knick-knack. Come here, knick-knack. Come here, talking here. He said, come here. No, so hold your yo-yos now for a minute. You will have to eat to put on weight. You understand? Eat weight. So you hold your yo-yos. You'll go into the canteen here, and you go up to the woman behind the till, and you'll say to her, now listen, rhubarb tart. And I go, no, so you listen to me, you lug you. Rhubarb tart. Rhubarb tart. You'll starve if you don't listen to me. Listen. Rhubarb tart. Rhubarb tart. And he practiced for about an hour, and he went in on the day, and he went into the canteen, and he went up to the lady, and there was a queue, and he came up to her, and he says, rhubarb tart. She says, what? He said, rhubarb tart. A rhubarb tart. And she gave him the rhubarb tart. He ate it like it was going out of fashion. He was starving. The minute he was finished, he couldn't wait to go for another. Up again, rhubarb tart. She gave him another one. He went up 5 times that day. The following day, 10 times. Rhubarb tart. By the end of the week, he was fluent in rhubarb tart. The only 2 words he knew, rhubarb tart. 5 months went by. And it was the bank holiday weekend at Easter, and the fellas were back on the Tuesday morning, no sign of the Japanese fella. Nying Yang Nyuk wasn't there. And I said, yeah, he was going at the rhubarb tart a fair bit now, so he was at it. And on the Thursday morning, the gates of the site opened, and here comes this pitiful sight walking across. And he walks straight up to the foreman. You see, no more rhubarb tart. No more rhubarb tart. No more. Rhubarb, no more. So, my dad being the foreman, realised he thought this guy's had an accident. Or two. And he said, come here, we'll have to tighten you up. Come here for a second, we'll tighten. Now it's different. No more rhubarb tart. No, no. Ham sandwich. Sandwich? No, ham sandwich. And he practiced it for 3 hours and he got it right. Ham sandwich. And he walks up to the poor woman in the canteen. She says, rhubarb. No. No more rhubarb tart. No. He says, ham sandwich. She says, I beg your pardon? He said, ham sandwich. And she says, ham sandwich. Yeah, ham sandwich. And she says, do you want brown bread or white bread? He said, no. Ham sandwich. Yes, chef, but do you want a brown bread or white bread? Ham sandwich. He said, do you want brown? It's a rhubarb tart. Rhubarb tart. Two fellas coming home one night. They go into the pub just after the Clare All-Ireland. They walk into the pub. They're sitting there. They're having a few pints. 8 pints of Guinness later. And the conversation gets very tricky. You have one fella saying, Michael, was it you or your brother was drowned at sea? And the other fella had to think. It must have been my brother. I was never in the Navy. And then they're asking stupid questions. He says to the barman, he says, has a lemon got 2 legs? The fella says, not at all. Well, he says, I think I squeezed a canary into the gin and tonic. As they drink, it's getting worse. The conversation is out of control. They're hungry now. They're looking behind and the barmaid is ready to... There's all signs in this bar. Freshly cut sandwiches, hot soup served all day, all shepherd's pie, cottage pie, and I can tell you they were getting hungry. And the barmaid was there, and one fella calls her over and says, come here for a second. He had her leaning over the counter like a shot, and him stock taken. And he says to her, would there be any chance of a quickie? She says, I beg your pardon? He says, I'm wondering, would there be any chance of a quickie? And the other fella says, I think it's pronounced quiche. Quiche. There's a woman down here who doesn't know what a quiche is. Hope she knows what a quickie is. I don't know. And she says, pizza. He says, pizza yourself. No, she says, pizza. It's a very special piece. It's made from dough, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and peppers. Oh, pizza. Does it come in a bowl? She says, no, it's baked in the oven. Well, he says, I'll have that. And she says, would you like me to cut it in 8 slices or 6 slices? Oh, because you make it 6 slices, I'd never finish the 8 slices. When he was finished, you can imagine girls, with the cheese dripping out of his teeth and the onions here, and you have to wait. You know what it means, girls. You know what it means, fellas. You know what it means to come home at night and have a large bottle of stout taken out of the fridge and poured for you, and your back scratched. And you know what it means to have a nice toasted sandwich ready for you. You know what it means to have your feet tickled. You know what it means? It means you're in the wrong house, fellas. These fellas have just finished. the pizza and they're on their way out, walking out. One fella goes into the toilet, the other fella goes outside the door. And the lad in the toilet, now there's very strange things happening in this country now, ever since Television of Gaeilge started up. The toilets in the Gaeltacht now, in all the pubs, are bilingual. Half Irish and half English. That's right, you have the fur jacks and the banjacks. You'll see it yourself. And then there's the fir tree outside, just in case. And there's a big difference. I mean, there is a big difference between the toilets, being the gents and the ladies. And ladies, I want you to know this. You don't know your comfort. You've carpets on the floor in there. You have your own little cubicle. You could do your own thing. You have a bit of privacy. You can come out and you have a big mirror to powder your nose. The gents' toilet, lads, am I right? On a Saturday night, it's like a mart. Like a mart. There's lads everywhere. How are you doing, Michael? How are you? You're good man. How are you holding, man? How you by your head? Right there, yeah. Hey, move up there. Come on, man, John. Make a chance. Up there. Hey. And there's lads pushing you up in the corner. And fellas trying to shake hands with you. How are you doing? And then there's the drunks who come in. I mean, this fella's really drunk when he comes in. You can always tell him drunk. And he's walking in and he's pulling down the zip in his cardigan. And he gets up into the position like that. And he takes out his toy. Now wait till I tell you. And he's standing there for a few minutes. He even shakes the toy when he's, oh, for the love and the honor of God. He puts us back into the cardigan, he pulls the zip up in the cardigan. He doesn't even know he's destroyed himself. He only notices when he's walking out. It's and he picks on this fella out in the bar. Did you spill a pint of beer down the front of my trouser? The fella says no. But he says, it must be an inside job, so. And he's afraid. He is afraid to go home. He calls his sister to pick him up. Will you come out and pick me up? He said, yes, I'm destroyed here. I'm in the pub here. Destroyed. I'm damp and wet and weary. She says, where are you ringing from? He says, from the waist down, anyway. And the other fella went out the front door and he wasn't feeling well. I don't mean to be rude, but he gets sick. How do you say sick without saying vomit? Oh yeah, he calls Huey. No, they always call Huey. And then they call some fella called Buck. Buck. And he gets sick over a tomcat. And the cat goes, jeez, I don't remember eating that. It's a curse, that drink. I mean, when an Irishman leaves a pub, let me tell you this, when an Irishman leaves a pub, we never go home on our own. We always bring home a witness. We're very sentimental leaving the pub. We always feel our way out. We always touch the wall. Because it's plastered too. And we never go home on our own. We always, as I said, we always attract other drunks. We become human magnets. Two fellas, they're walking up the South Circular Road one night. They're only 300 yards up the road when there's 12 of them. All footless. And there's only one. They don't know where they've been. They don't know where they are. They don't know where they're going. They don't even know who they are. And there's one fella leading them like headless chickens. And they're going by this block of flats. And as they go by the block of flats, they could see a light on the third floor. And there's one fella saying, Mrs. Murphy! Mrs. Murphy! And the window goes up and the head comes out, yes? Are you married to Mickey Murphy?
Yes. What about it?
Would you come down and pick him out so the rest of us can go home? As they walk up that road, and they all separate, one fella kind of goes off on his own with a six-pack under his arm. And he meets, as he walks down up the road, he could see there's two nuns, you see, walking towards him. And they're kind of walking, and he's trying to balance himself up. Oh, yeah, devil, yeah. And when they come to him, they walk on either side of him. And he looks around and says, "Jill, how did she do that?" And one of the nuns comes back with a little box, and she says, "Would you like to help the Sacred Heart home?" He says, "Yeah, I can hardly find my own way home. And then the other two fellas are on the railway line. They could have been killed, walking along. "Hey, this is the longest bloody staircase I ever went up in my life." The other fella says, "The Shaggin' Bannisters has my back broke here." "Oh, tell me here, there's bloody..." But there's always the wife waiting. Girls, you're the ones who have to wait, aren't you? Yes. And the questions.
Where were you till now?
I was out. It's a great answer, isn't it?
And what are you doing here?
I'm coming home. Two best answers you can ever give, fellas. I was out and I'm coming home. You could have been out of the house for a month and it covers you because you've told no lies and you've given no information.
And what are you doing here? 3 o'clock in the morning?
This is the only place open. And before anything happens, she goes straight back up to her beauty sleep, leaving the two of them sitting down in the kitchen. And after his pal falls asleep after an hour, Paddy now makes the pilgrimage to the bedroom. And as he walks up the stairs, and she can kind of hear... She doesn't know what's going on. She says,
What are you doing down there?
"I'm trying to get a bottle of stout up the stairs."
Says, leave it there.
"I can't. I'm after drinking it." By the time he's at the landing, he has the hots. He could see her in the bedroom. The bedroom furniture waltzing with each other. Photographs on the wall of the Pope and President Kennedy doing the military two-step. And her on the bed going around in circles. Around and around. And he's going, "Ooh." The next time that bed comes around and jumping up on it. Up you bite. And he does. And as he stands there, he looks down at her with her tongue draped over the dimple of her chin. And he said, "I missed me chance. I missed me chance. Damn it." And then he reaches into his pocket and he takes out 2 aspirins and he places them on her tongue and waits. And she wakes up.
What are they?
He says, "They're 2 Aspiros, darling."
She says, I haven't got a headache.
But he said, "This is my lucky night, so..." The first girl I ever try, I suppose try is the best way. First girl I ever tried. This is the true story, I'm not trying to make this up. I got a dose of the stutters from this particular girl. Mama, 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 mama. Mama, Mary Lou, I'm calling you up on the telephone to say thanks for coming to dance with me and letting me take you home. I'm sorry I acted so nervous. I started to stammer and sweat, but I started as soon as I saw your face and I haven't gotten over it yet. I stared at your great big boob and the beautiful big blue eyes. I wondered if you scrutinized all the guys when you smiled and early shot out through the door. 'Cause I never seen such pretty little tits before. Wasn't always shy like this. I've been out with other girls. I've kissed them on the back doorstep and let them see my pearls. But since I first caught sight of you that night at the farmer's ball, why I become such a stuttering bum and I can't say a word at all. My collar gets awful tight. when I feed your clothes just like I did last night, I get a funny feeling in my brain, and I can't move, and I can't wait to see you again. Oh, she said she'd see me Saturday. I put down the phone. My tongue is back to normal now, and I'm once more alone. The next time that I see her will be Saturday night round 10. You can bet your the bottom dollar I'll be a stuttering bum again. I'll grab her by the arm and push her inside. I'll take my courage in both hands and ask her to be my bride. And if she holds my clammy hand and tells me that she would, I'll cover my head and I cure myself for good. 'Cause I stared at your great big beautiful big blue eyes. I wondered if you scrutinized all the guys. And when you smiled, I nearly shot out through the door. 'Cause I never seen such pretty little teeth before. Hey!